All right, hello. We're gonna do a review of my SD matches, SDS, and naturally, let's cut to the chase. You already saw the thumbnail, so this is a rank one review, and I'm gonna go ahead and go over just some of the matches. Well, yeah, some of the matches and how it panned out. This Mia is a really good unit. I just don't know where to use her. Melee flyers are in like an odd spot, unless you're Hearthwelger. But every other melee flyer is kind of like, I don't know, not quite good enough, I want to say. I think it's probably the damage reduction that's holding them back. I feel like it's also not even fair to compare them to Hearthwelger. She's just like on a whole other tier. She's just that good. And this Plumeria, man, like like this is one of my favorite arts in the game. She was so well drawn and like, wow, the pops in the blue, it just looks so fantastic. Yeah, really surprised that I don't have more copies of her given the amount of fodder that I have on that unit. And then from here, I'm gonna get for Mortis, and I think that's probably the last spark. I don't know if I'm gonna go back in after that, but we'll see what happens there. Also, maybe another Hector would be nice. It really depends on how lucky I get. If I do go back on that banner, I don't know. Let's see what happens, but cutting to the chase, stalled enough. Here is the teams. The first team here is trash. I did not use this at all. It was available to be used the majority of the time. I want to say at least for more than half of the matches. I think I didn't even count the matches. It was a lot, man. There was a lot of matches, but it was pretty much always up unless they got banned because someone was afraid of playing against a Cavline. But this is not a good team. I think the weakness is the two flyers. Nephany in particular just doesn't really offer very much to this team aside from the fact that she's a duo. So yeah, that's great, but I really just didn't know what else to bring. And then here is my Sita, of course. I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like I should probably make this my lead unit because I've just been using this unit so much, and she's pretty much carried me through this run, the past couple SDS runs, SDR runs as well. This is pretty much my main team. I use this team for like pretty much every match. Robin, baby Robin here, put in a lot of work, surprisingly. I was impressed by how well she performed for how old she is as a unit. The swap, the A skill, the dual button, yeah, a lot of damage in this unit. I was very impressed. And Felix, of course, can't forget Felix. He's, I mean, it's Felix. It's like, you can't really argue with what he does. There's just no comparison that is as good as him. And the art is also like really good. Like, I sometimes just sit and stare at the art and I'm just like, how did you draw this? Like, look at this. It's like the pops, man. It's brilliant. It's so good. Like, I used to scribble and draw Gundams when I was a kid, but this is just some of the art in this game is just top tier, man. I just fantastic. And then Hearthwelger here, very good. Yeah, not exactly what I wanted from her on this particular map, because a lot of times she ended up being a frontliner, and that's not the position that I wanted to play her in. And Hector here, I gotta give him some credit. I mean, he did fairly well in comparison. I needed a save, so he fit the build. Nurgle is really the one that makes this team go boom. The only thing that's missing here, it's kind of anti-synergistic with Bernadetta, because I've said this before. Bernadetta has that chip damage effect, and then Nurgle, he kind of needs to be over 25% to get the thing. Essence Drain, and then also the healing from his Essence Drain doesn't synergize well with Bernadetta, so not a lot of synergy there, but the team works. Really, how you stop it, you just send in an AoE and knock Nurgle down to outside of the range of him being able to use Essence Drain, and then that's pretty much GG's. The team is no longer good. Even Shez here has a HP condition in her weapon, so a lot of the units on this team just don't function well against AoEs, but I didn't know, again, what else to use. Really, some type of Breath of Life or a healer would have probably been the right call for a team like this, so that it always stayed at least full health or close to, for Nurgle in particular. But limited space, limited options, didn't really know who to swap out, but it did the job when I needed to use it in the times when the Cadea team was banned. Yeah, it was pretty decent there. Shez, very good combat unit. Still not quite sure what to use her though. This team, the last team here with Alir, was never available. Like, I never got to use this team, and it got banned every single time. I don't know why they were so afraid. I want to say it's because Neathauger is on the team. That's probably why it got banned so often, because Neathauger plus Haythrun here is pretty much unkillable. Same to be said with Neathauger, Alir plus Neathauger, pretty much the same thing there. He's also unkillable, and the only thing that he's really lacking is no follow-up. Tharja is here for her status effect, as well as the smoke, the Defra smoke for Pathfinder, because one of the problems with this team is that it often got like stalled or bogged down in the middle area of the map. On the bridge, it was very difficult to move Neathauger around there because she didn't have +1 movement or anything like that. Warping would have been really nice on her if I could get like guidance or something, but yeah. Pathfinder was there on Death Red Smoke for the mobility, but it really doesn't come into play quite a lot because Tharja doesn't attack quite that often. So yeah, it was really just Alir. That last team is really just the Alir team. And he's again, I gotta say this, man, he's really good. I have to give him credit because I've just been playing a bunch of practice matches with him in regular SD, and he just walls out so many units. I was very surprised at how good he is in terms of tankiness. Don't think he'll last forever, but at least he's better than Summer Alir. That much I'll say. I still don't know what to do with that Summer Alir, even though I really like that alt. But yeah, here's how the matches shaped up. A bunch of draws, I think about 4 of them. 3 losses, of course. And then, as you can see, the majority of these are Cadea, man. Cadea, I was wondering at some point, like, there's a point, like, I was just wondering if she got, like, found out, but not the case. Everyone was still letting the team through, but then the choices were either to let through Neathauger or let through Sigurd, and a lot of people didn't want to, deal with Sigurd, so the Cadea team was pretty much always available. You see the the tiers here, and this was a big throw on my part. And also, I want to give a ton of credit to my opponent in this match. They played very well in the latter stages of the game. I want to say also in the opening as well, they did pretty well. Even though I knew what they wanted to do with this Layla, I wasn't really concerned about losing the unit that got targeted because I had enough firepower to follow up if needs be and to take out whoever was left behind. The downside is I later on in the match I made a huge mistake in terms of trading. I decided to pick out the wrong unit, and that's what cost me the game, and you'll see it in a bit. Cadea had NCD, so she would have survived. If she could have counterattacked, she would have probably won that face-off, but infantry matchups, as long as you can do enough damage to her, she'll probably lose. The target here should have been for Mortis, but I decided to take the captain kill for the extra points. But really, I should have taken for Mortis because he's the fire save, and the remaining units that I have left are all ranged attackers. In comparison to him having Felix as well, I would have been able to take out both Felix and Robin, Brave Robin, if there were the last units left on the opposing team. Instead, I let him ball up with Four Mortis, and I was unable to get through Four Mortis. I got walled out. So that was just a really bad trade that I did there. Granted, he would have had Layla available, but it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I would have just picked her off at some point. The only thing that would have been a problem would have been Felix, but I just would have needed to chase him down and take him out. I would have been able to have more action economy than my opponent. I was able to get through for Mortis in the end. Granted, it was really close, but it was pretty much too late because he had capitalized on my misplay and got Felix into the spot, or into the box, in range of both of my nukes, and that was pretty much GG's. I surrendered there because Fjorn was not going to be able to do anything to the units that were left. So big misplay on my part, but gotta give credit to the opponent. Even though he was in gold, he played really well. I don't think that's a gold player. That's probably someone who's starting over or something, or someone that's getting some help, because they played really, really well for being a gold player. I played a lot of other opponents that were not as good playing against me. But yeah, this is just, I'm probably going to only show like 2 of these first Bulgar matchups because they were pretty much a wash for me. This is the opening, and unfortunately I did not remember the opening later on, and that's what cost me one of my losses. Shadow Lookout Force is actually really, really good on Chez here, but unfortunately I just can't figure out how to get all the units into the box, or as many units into the box as I could possibly get in there, which I think I mentioned before in another video that one of the problems with this map is that the top right and the bottom left are too far away from the center, the spawn areas, and that's something that needs to be fixed if this map is going to be good in the future. I guess good isn't the right word to use there. Probably more what's the word? Oh no, but playable. Maybe that's the word. No, you can play on the map. Manageable. It's not the map itself, like the bridges and the openings and the water tiles. I'm not like bothered by those. It's literally just the spawn areas. They're just too far away, and it takes too many actions to get into the box, the area. Unless you want to focus on a warping center team, and you really don't necessarily want that on all of your teams. I don't think that's like the best setup, unless you have units specifically dedicated to doing that. You really want like 2-space warping, and that's not like for Cavs. I don't know how you would fit that in. But yeah, a lot of action here. Very impressed that they were able to get work out of this +10 Loki. Was it +10? I think it was. But this was just another example of the Cadea team, and how flexible it is. I think this is like my my catcher ball. You know, the catcher ball that DTM always uses? This is probably my version of it, because I use this team for pretty much everything, and I'm just so familiar with how flexible it is, how to move with it. It's like a car, and you just know how to drive it. That's what this team is. Even when I get like stalled, or as you can see here, my status effects are all being erased. I can just swap and get them back, and then do this. There was a point in that setup where Sita was doing 0x2, but that's just because she didn't have no follow-up or any of her stuff active because of Thor there. So all I needed to do was to swap, and it was all good again. They played really well, despite, you know, me taking that unit out and everything. They played really well here to keep it competitive. I'm purposely keeping Felix away from everyone. I don't think you noticed, but I'm purposely keeping him away to ensure that he's not stalled, and then also to make sure that he's not eating like a ton of debuffs, because he's the only one that on this team that has +1 movement, as you can see. And yeah, he pretty much came through clutch here in the end. I was very impressed that they were able to take out Sita here with the iceberg. Not Sita, I mean Fjorm with the iceberg. But then again, she had not a lot of health left, and she just ate the AoE. I don't have any Breath of Life on most of my teams, I want to say. Even though it's like such an important skill for SD, because AoEs are pretty much everywhere, I didn't run it on pretty much any of the teams except Nithogger, not Nithogger, Haythrun. She has it in her thing. But yeah, it was never a problem, really. It didn't affect me as much as it normally does. I think it was probably because of this map in particular. It was a lot more congested in the middle, so it didn't leave. Once you clog the middle area, there isn't space for a lot of the opposing units to go around you and attack. This was a really, really good match as well. I think there's one other one after this, but they played really well with Sigurd here. And I had to resort to some aggressive playing just to get them to make mistakes and to pin them into the corner here. A lot of swapping here, and what you're going to see in a little bit is I'm going to make a Galaxy Brain attack play here with Felix. Because one of the problems is if you're not able to get to your opponent, or if they outrange you, it's always good to have the opportunity to sneak around the back, and that's what I was doing here. And then also, it's very important to have a mixture of melee and ranged nukes on your team, because that was the reason that he had to reposition Lucina to that spot there, because I'm threatening with my Lucina, and then Felix taking out their captain was a very good trade for me. It took out their action economy, as well as one of their major ranged threats. Probably the only unit that could have taken out Fjorm. Not that Rune can't do it as well, he's just not as... he needs desperation to get it done. And there you saw, I pretty much blocked the middle there, and they were at a loss as to what to do next. It took them quite a bit to move Sigurd down to that spot that you saw him run away to, which is actually the better option, the best option that they could have chosen in that situation, because they are targeting Fjorm, and I could have ended turn and just swapped Fjorm out of the way, but I no longer needed her because I knew that I had enough units to counter everything that was left. But yeah, here's the follow-up, the revenge kill. I think if Sigurd was able to run away there with, if he didn't have override, if he was able, well, no, I have Canto control, so he would have still gotten hit. It was inevitable. Once I made that reposition play, which was really Galaxy Brain, because at that point in time, before that, he was leading on points, and I had to find a way to get over there to force him to make a mistake, because I was at a disadvantage from the beginning, because I didn't have. Well, he had that skill that gives you extra points for having your captain in the box. So he was already on a 2-point advantage because of that. So I had to get over there to force him to make some bad decisions, or to force the control out of Sigurd's hand. And that's what Sita allowed me to do. I don't know how or if I'll ever be able to replace her, because just her matchup against Sigurd is invaluable, man. This match as well was very tough, very, very tough. Asker with Pavus, very good. For Mortis, very, very good. And then Loki here, I think Loki is one of the best picks on this map in specific. She does very well here because she can pretty much shut down 3 lanes. And then also the gravity effect is very, very good. Once the team starts to clump up in the middle, it's pretty much perfect for her because she gets the full effect of her debuffs and everything. For this map, I decided to just send Felix all the way in because I'm probably going to need him. I'm definitely going to need him to, just take out the units here. I don't think I'll be able to get in behind if I went up top, and I would definitely need no follow up to get the kills that I need to get this through. My play here is triangle attack or dual strike, and one of the things that happened that threw me for a loop here was Asker taking out Sita here with big damage. The problem was she didn't have no follow-up. She would have survived that combat if she had no follow-up, but positioning required her to be sacrificed, unfortunately. So there's the no follow play, and it was also kind of a bait to get him to bring his Asker in closer so that I can take him out with Felix, because it was pretty close. I just wasn't able to get the actual kill with the Pavis. It would have been able to be done with 2 actions, but I didn't necessarily want to, send Felix in there to waste the action economy there. And that's Astra for 83 damage from Micaiah. I was so shocked that that happened. I was actually it worked out in my favor, because if I had waited another turn, they would have taken out Micaiah without me being able to do anything, which is unfortunate for them, because I didn't realize that Micaiah had Astra until that happened. I thought it was just a glimmer or something, but yeah, my aggressive plays there worked out in my favor. So again, sometimes it pays to be aggressive, especially in maps that are this face-to-face. It definitely pays to play a bit aggressive sometimes and force the opponent to make a mistake. They're probably just going to keep waiting until turn 4, which is what they did. And they would have done the same without Asker taking out Sita. They would have continued to do the same. And I think I would have lost Micaiah, but by that time I think I would have lost Fjorm, but by that time I would have been in the position to take out Asker. So I don't know, the outcome would have more than likely been different. And yeah, so here's another match. This one was I threw this match, if I remember correctly. I didn't play particularly well here. I really needed to bait Sigurd out, and I figured why not just throw Hearthfelger out there and let him take the bait that way, which probably wasn't the right decision, because what it comes down to is Shez being below 25%, and that's one of the reasons that I ended up losing the match, because she has a weapon condition that I did not realize that she had. So yeah, throw again on my part, but new unit, takes a little bit to figure out what she can do. And yeah, I needed a way to again get him to commit, because he had point advantage from being in the zone. And then also what kept happening is that Nurgle lost his Essence Drain effects because he was getting chipped down by Bernadetta. And I didn't realize that. If I had realized earlier, then I probably would have moved a bit faster. But yeah, the AoE, like I said before, kills that team because it disequips, or it disables, it cripples Nurgle from doing his thing. And Nurgle is really the driving force behind that this Hearthfelger team. It took the most losses, but I want to say the losses were really down to me just not playing properly, and then also, just me making mistakes in general. This, I was trying to protect my units here, but this play, that reposition play with Sigurd, caught me off guard, and yeah, that's pretty much GG's. I didn't have a response for that because most of my actions were already used, and with Shadow Shift they got that free action. So yeah, not the greatest for me. And again, I think it comes down to really what it was is the ignore terrain effect working in their favor. And I tried my best to get back into the game, but they had too much range, and I just wasn't able to compensate for it. And Hector was getting chipped down by Bernadetta. So again, just showing you that without Nurgle, this team really falls apart. Not the greatest team. I'm probably going to swap it out sometime in the future, but it does the job if played right, and I did not play properly. So those were the 3 losses, deserved losses. I got outplayed. I probably want to say that in each of those matches. Granted, I did make a few mistakes, but at the end of the day, the opponent played very well to force me to make the mistakes, so I gotta give them credit for that. Everyone keeps saying Lynn is gonna be the emblem unit at the end of the month, and I don't know. We'll see what happens, but her legendary version is really bad, and she hasn't gotten an ult in a while, so let's see what comes out of that. Not sure what to do with Summer Lear, but here's the build. I don't know if that actually works. I wanted to fodder Christmas Lear's B skill to her, but I don't know if she's even worth it. Here's this Alm that looks terrifying. I would not want to face that, but it looks really, really powerful. I also have a spare copy of Momentum that I'm holding on to. Not quite sure what to do with it yet, but I'm sitting on that to see, what units come in that I can fodder that skill to. This dude, man, Habaluka, he keeps hitting rank 1. He eats and breathes SD. He is very good at this game mode, and he keeps his units up to date. So it's understandable. Invested Hector here. I don't know. I'm kind of coming around a little bit on Hector. I feel like I've been a bit too harsh on him, but I still feel like for Mortis is better. Saithler was actually really good. I forget that she can actually do damage because I don't run Occultist Strike in her Beast. I run Wings of Mercy. So every time I'm like, why is she not killing anything? The reason is really because Wings of Mercy. But yeah, a lot of really powerful units here. This Ymir, I feel like, is on the cusp of a comeback. Granted, Barricade, I probably wouldn't run that because I think her C skill is one of the best things that she has going for her, the Miracle Effect. But her weapon still does a ton, so you're not really losing out on too much in terms of cleansing. There's a lot of really great dragon skills that you can equip to her, and she does very well with those skills. I feel like if you have her, now is probably the time to give her some fodder and see how well she performs for you. He's been building this vault forever. He's been trying to complete this vault, and he's just 2 merges away. Very good unit, I want to say at this point. I'm pretty sure he'll be like cracked with a refine, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Rank 1 doesn't hit the same as the first one, but GG's.